necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
Well, what's up, everybody? A very happy Tuesday. Good to be back in the saddle with all of you after a nice little vacation I had in San Diego. Good to be back. And we got a lot to talk about today, a lot to get into. These weird Donald Trump rumors that were circulating over the course of the last 4 or 5 days. We're certainly going to break that down and talk about that. He just did an interview with Scott Jennings, and his voice sounded very, very raspy, to say the least. So we're certainly going to talk about that and more fallout with troops being deployed and the possibility of them being deployed to Chicago. We've also learned that a judge has ruled that what he did in L.A. and sending those troops out to L.A. was unlawful. We'll get to that as well. So kind of to break down everything, and there's a lot to talk about over the course of the weekend. A man who actually went to a Bernie Sanders rally in Maine. Of course, I'm talking about Midas Touch's very own Ron Filipkowski joining us on the program. Ron, good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Good. So, yeah, recovering from the big rally last night.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk to you about that. I saw some of your videos and pictures, and it looked like it was jam-packed. So I definitely want to talk to you about that. I want to start with this, though. Okay. Weird rumors, right, of Donald Trump. Now, you know, a lot of people probably that don't have a lot of credibility, but we hear that Melania Trump is at Walter Reed. We hear that, you know, Donald Trump's been kept away from the media. We see these pictures of him apparently playing golf, and it just everything's kind of weird the last several days. I just wanted to get your perspective on this. Do you think something is going on with Donald Trump's health? What do you think has been going on over the course of the last 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, I think something's been going on. I don't know what it is. You know, he was on TV just now for his big announcement that he's moving the Space Force Command from Colorado to Alabama, which is no big surprise because Tuberville's been lobbying him about that for a long time. So, and of course, you know, Joe Biden moved it to Colorado. So, of course, Trump had to move it back. So, you know, but he looked and sounded fine. But, of course, it's been 7 days. So, you know, he could have had something going on, you know, and it, you know, it didn't appear today. You mentioned the raspy voice. That was the Jennings interview. I think that was either this morning or last night.
Yeah.
It was also odd that he called into that instead of appearing on video for Jennings' new podcast. But yeah, you know, a lot of speculation, you know, whether he had COVID or something else. You know, it's also very strange that he mentioned that he posted that weird post about the COVID vaccine a couple of days ago. And whether it is effective and all that, because he hasn't talked about that in probably 2 years. He hasn't even brought up the COVID vaccine in 2 years because his supporters hate when he talks about it. And the post was kind of like all over the place, taking like all sides of the issue. So I thought that was weird timing, you know, for him to have all these rumors about there being something going on with him. And then he, out of the blue, for the first time in 2 years, posts about the COVID vaccine. So yeah. Who knows what's going on? One thing we do know is that we will never, ever get the truth out of this White House or Donald Trump about any medical issues that he's having. We know that.
Yeah. And we also know, Ron, adding to that speculation is that they posted pictures, the White House did, on social media of him playing golf with John Gruden when we know that was over a week ago. Why would they do that?
Yeah. I mean, that just led to more speculation, you know, for them to do that. And posting the picture of him with John Fredericks, the Just the News host, podcast guy, you know, and then that was from the day before, and that appeared to have some photo, you know, touch up being done to his face on it. From a lot of people noticed that. So weird stuff going on. You know, we know that he's at times looked and sounded like shit, you know, looks really bad. And then other times he kind of pulls it together. So I think he's on meds. I don't know what they are, but you know, he's kind of been going up and down lately, in and out of being on his A game, you know, for sure. But, you know, I wish that they could be honest with us about even that. I mean, even if you come out and say, look, the president is having some medical issues, just level with the American people, be honest. And I think that they're understanding, if he's got some issue going on related to his age or cardio health or stroke or whatever the case may be. But, there's zero chance, because he perceives like talking about a medical problem as you're admitting a weakness. And, he's always got to present himself as this invincible, energetic, strong man.
Ron, last question on this. We heard rumors again that Walter Reed was shut down, like around the facility for several hours last night. We also heard rumors, and that's what they are. I don't know if it's true or not, that Melania Trump was at Walter Reed. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I don't really believe those, because those didn't really come from like highly credible sources. They just come from like various internet speculators. I didn't see that from any like mainstream journalists. And the thing is, there's so many journalists that like actually live right in around that area, that had that actually been the case, I think we would have gotten a lot more coverage. But I will say this, the media doesn't want to report on this at all. Mainstream media, corporate media, the only people talking about Trump's health ever for quite a long time has been independent media and podcasters. Like mainstream media won't touch this stuff. They won't ask him about his hand. They won't ask him about issues they won't ask him about his supposed ear being shot off. They won't ask him about anything health related. I think they're afraid to do that, to be honest.
Do you find it a little peculiar and weird that he rarely ever talks about the assassination attempt anymore? Right, Ron? I mean, he hardly ever brings it up.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, during the campaign, he talked about it constantly.
Right.
I mean, he fundraises off of it still. He's got the photos of it all over the White House. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he doesn't bring it up very much anymore. But one thing is like, he is way more in a bubble now than he was like even a year ago. Like, he does not appear in public without heavy security. Whenever he gives a public speech, it's always behind heavy bulletproof glass, all encased in. He's definitely was, freaked out by that for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about the campaign rally that you went to yesterday. I saw some of your videos on social media. Looked like it was pretty jam-packed. A lot of people wanted to hear Bernie Sanders speak, and you could talk to us a little bit about who Bernie Sanders is campaigning for. But what was that event like yesterday? Yeah,
I mean, there was three people there who spoke were the headliners. You have Sanders, and then you had Randy Jackson. I think Randy is his first name. Jackson, he's running for governor. So he's current president of the state Senate. And then Plattner. But what I will say is, like, to me, the crowd was there to see Plattner. Everybody is curious about this guy in Maine. They're excited about him. They don't know a lot about him, except for like what they see in here they like. And I would say to people around the country, because, there's been some backlash because part of his standard stump speech, which is a very good speech and very unique speech. It's not, he's kind of a Bernie protege, but he's not exactly like Bernie. He goes into some different areas. Yes, Bernie helped draw the crowd, but I will say, like, there was over 6,000 people there, which in Maine is like half the population, and so, that's a lot of people for Maine. They were there to see Plattner, and, you could tell from the noise and the enthusiasm when he came out that that's what people were there to hear. And it wasn't just like the Bernie progressives. It was centrist Democrats all the way to far left progressives. It was a good mixed crowd. So I think they were curious. The criticism of him is that he criticizes Democrats. He says this is both parties. He talks a lot about corporate controlling both parties. And there are some Democrats who don't like that. They want the unity right now. They don't want any criticism of leadership. But, I'll say that's a small minority, although vocal. And I get where he's coming from on it. What he's talking about is like, if you sell out to PACs and you're taking all this corporate money, or you're taking APAC money, over time, you become beholden to those interests. and you sort of be turned into the uniparty with the establishment, and he doesn't ever want to be that person. And I understand what he's saying. I don't have a problem with what he's saying, because I think his criticism is constructive, not destructive.
Well, I was happy to see the crowd turnout. Like I said, seeing your videos and videos from others on social media. I wanted to get your thoughts on Nadler. Obviously, Nadler going to be retiring, and he made some comments which I tend to agree with. We need somebody younger that maybe could be more effective. I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the right thing to do. I mean, as soon as the announcement was made, all of us in our chat, at Midas, all basically had the same take, which is these guys who are in these safe seats, who are really old, it's time for them, the boomer generation, to exit stage left, stage right, whatever, get off the stage, let somebody, like, I get a Marcy Kaptur, let's say, in Ohio, who's probably like the only Democrat who could win that district. If she ever retired, I think it would be a Republican seat. So like people like that, like I have no issue with them staying on, maybe a little past what you normally would like to see. But people in safe seats, people like your Schumers, people like your Nadlers and others, it's time for them to step aside. And I really liked his comments. I really thought that they were good. He was just like, it was hard for me to, and he reflects a lot of the sentiment that you hear from baby boomers. It is a generation that, my parents' generation, maybe yours, that, came through the civil rights movement, came through Vietnam. They're very activist politically, socially, and they don't want to give it up. They don't want to leave the stage because they feel like, they have that feeling that a lot of older people have, like, if I leave this job, everything's going to fall apart. You hear that from time to time, especially this generation. But he said that. He said, it was hard for me, especially at this pivotal moment in history, to leave. But I understand that, like, somebody younger, more energetic, in better health can probably do a better job. And I applaud him for, like, having that self-awareness.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I wish Joe Biden did that a few years before he decided not to run again. I think the country would be in a different spot, Ron. So I haven't talked to you a lot about gun control. I didn't really get a chance to talk to you about the horrible tragedy in Minneapolis, that shooting there. Donald Trump was just asked about that shooting in this presser, and he said he, quote, sort of likes the idea of arming some teachers. This has been one of my biggest criticisms of Republicans for decades, way before Donald Trump. I don't think they're doing enough, if anything, to address this issue when it comes to all the gun violence in this country. What do you make of Donald Trump's response when asked that question a few moments ago, and where the Republican Party is at with this issue?
Yeah, I'm definitely against that. I don't think introducing guns into schools is a good idea. I was a high school teacher for 3 years, and so I just think that will lead to, high school students are very mischievous, get into a lot of things that they shouldn't, often enter classrooms when teachers aren't present. I don't know, the protocol, because if these are going to be kept up in some locker where they have to go get them, I can see that being an issue, because a lot of times you don't have any time, and you don't want teachers leaving the classroom when an incident is happening.
Yeah.
And if they have them inside the classroom, I can see way more people getting shot through, students getting a hold of these things.
Right. Exactly.
Than anything else. So I think it's a bad idea. I have no issue with, like, hardening schools. I don't think that that's completely the answer, but I have no issue with that. What I do have an issue with is the funding. Kristi Noem is going to be sending out very big checks to, I think she said 600 religious churches, and my concern, because this was a Catholic school. So a lot of times the private religious schools don't, get the taxpayer dollars for this kind of stuff because they're private. So she's sending them FEMA disaster money to churches in order for them to harden. My concern is this: there's a lot of charlatans out there among pastors, and we don't, who is she going to choose to send? What churches, what pastors are going to get this money? is the money actually going to be used for the purposes that it's been designated for, or is this going to go into, a new car for the pastor? That I don't think that FEMA money should be going to churches, is my thought. As much as I would like to help protect everyone from crazy people, I don't think that that's what the government should be doing. So that's a bigger concern of mine, even.
Yeah, complete agreement with you. If you're just joining us, Ron Filikowski from Midas Touch. So, Ron, I know this is all in real time here, but Donald Trump just was asked about the deployment of sending troops to Chicago, and he said, we will do it, but he said he didn't say when he was going to do it. What do you make of that?
Well, the reporting has been for the past month that he's going to do it in September, and that it was definitely going to be next. The issues are more complicated. DC is federal territory, it's federal property. He can do pretty much whatever he wants in DC as president. Can't do that in Chicago. And, we just had the ruling today from the judge in California. Now, granted, that's a U.S. district judge in Northern California, but he just ruled on Gavin Newsom v. Donald Trump and said that his sending the Marines into LA was illegal, violated the Posse Comitatus Act, which says that you can't use federal troops for domestic police purposes. So Chicago is a whole different ballgame from DC. It's a huge city. It's very spread out. It has a lot more people. And you're talking about a Democratic governor who does not want them there, a Democratic mayor who doesn't want them there. So I can see big, big problems. I get, like, I heard Scarborough this morning. I saw a clip of him on Morning Joe saying, like, well, the murder problem's really bad. The crime problem's really bad. So Pritzker just needs to pick up the phone and talk to Donald Trump and work something out here because he needs help. Look, I agree that the crime problem in Chicago is an issue. I think maybe their criminal justice system is too lenient. I don't know from what I read from reports. But sending troops into American cities is not the answer. And I really believe that the long-term goal of this is to use troops in Democratic areas during the midterm elections as an intimidation tactic.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there as well. And of course, he's not sending any of these troops into Republican-run cities,
Not
which
yet.
I also. Yeah, which not yet. That's true. I'm wondering what you make, speaking of this, because you do speak out a lot on Kristi Noem. I do as well. Noem said over the weekend that LA, quote, wouldn't be standing if President Donald Trump hadn't taken action. And as we know, a judge said what he did was unlawful. And we were talking about what, Ron, 3 or 4 blocks of LA. And she's saying, quote, LA wouldn't, a couple blocks. LA wouldn't be standing if not for Donald Trump's actions. Ron, what do you make of that statement?
Again, I mean, anybody who's spent any time in LA, or been through it, LA is a huge city that is very spread out. It is not concentrated in a downtown area like a lot of eastern East Coast cities are, where they have these big downtowns with skyscrapers. LA is not really like that. The Marines that were sent in there guarded 2 blocks of federal buildings. And there were really no serious incidents involving the Marines during that time, or even before they were deployed. There were minor incidents, but nothing serious. So, yeah, I mean, the idea of it's the same thing with the wildfires, where he claims like the whole city of LA would have burnt to the ground if he didn't release water from the reservoir into farms, which had no impact whatsoever. Why they have to say these outrageous, outlandish statements on Fox News that are just so demonstrably and obviously false blows me away. But it does feed into the whole Fox narrative. And the Fox audience, average age is 69, largely white men, largely rural. They don't travel very much. They don't go to big cities very often. And they sit there and they watch in Nebraska. They watch their TV on Fox all day. And they get this idea in their head that all American cities are just hellholes, that are just rampant crime everywhere, and it's not safe to leave your house. That's the sort of narrative that they present to justify everything else that they want to do. And this kind of feeds into that narrative, although she took it to the nth degree.
Yeah, it's just absolute ridiculous statements that Kristi Noem had made. By the way, Donald Trump just is quoted as saying, Newsom will need us again. It is starting to form again. Donald Trump just said that. I don't know what's forming that he's referring to. What do you make of that statement?
Unrest. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, the guy's just a lunatic. I mean, he was itching to use troops in his first term during the BLM, protests. He was dying to use it. And his Secretary of Defense, Esper, and Mark Milley, Joint Chiefs, pushed back and wouldn't let him do it, told him no. He fired them, or at least fired Esper,
right,
over that issue. And Milley also regretted, going out to DC where there were troops and everything. So now he's got a Secretary of Defense and a DHS secretary who will let him do whatever he wants. And the only person standing in his way are these governors and the courts.
Just scary times we're living in, Ron. Before I let you go, what do you got for your Substack today? What are you working on?
Yeah, I was doing a little bit on the Plattner rally, doing a little bit about Trump's health, that too. Quite a few other things. A lot of Democratic candidates announced today. Candidate in Pennsylvania, who's the mayor of Scranton, she announced today against this guy, Rob Bresnahan, who's a freshman. It's a swing district. It's 50-50 district. He just won. So he's a freshman and he's terrible. He was just one of these rich guys. He inherited a huge fortune at 19 years old. And he's never done anything on his own. And she's just an incredible candidate. Her launch video is great. So Nadler getting out, we're probably going to have another young one there. So really just I am as disillusioned as I am, or upset, I would say, about leadership of the Democratic Party in Congress. I am very much enthused by the candidates that we are rolling out across the country, whether it's Plattner, whether it's Cognetti, who I just mentioned, Paige Cognetti. And her campaign slogan, by the way, is Page Against the Machine. So I like that too. I mean, we're just rolling out some really, really strong candidates. This guy, Rob Sands in Iowa, running for governor, is tremendous. So we're rolling out great candidates all over the place, and that's very encouraging. So I'm writing about some of those today as well.
Can't wait to read it. Ron, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, Editor-in-Chief at Midas Touch. We will catch up with you soon, my friend, and we'll let you get back to work. Thanks for the time, as always.
Okay. We'll see you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ron. Ron Filipkowski, everybody, from Midas Touch. God, they do such a great job over there. I say that every day because they do. It's why they have one of the best podcasts around. And they're competing with Joe Rogan for that #1 spot. And Ron does such a wonderful job. Really appreciate his work. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick 90-second break. I know there's a lot of people that want to chime in. I've been on vacation since Thursday, actually, since Wednesday night. So maybe I'll get into that a little bit when we come back. Obviously, we'll take some phone calls when we come back. I know there's a lot of people that want to chime in on this stuff. And we have some audio to play for you of some of the crazy MAGA Republicans over the weekend, completely embarrassing themselves once again. And, of course, the latest on this Donald Trump press conference. And any alleged health issues, we will be diving deep into that as well. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank the official gaming bar of the Pushing the Limits radio show. Of course, I'm talking about Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Here's your chance to win a diamond watch. That's right. For every 200 points you earn in August and September, you receive a virtual drawing ticket for your chance to win a diamond watch. The drawing will be held Tuesday, September 30th at 7 p.m. Yes, I will definitely be there for that because I want a diamond watch. Check them out, Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. So, a lot of MAGA Republicans making the rounds, for lack of a better term, over the weekend. One of those people, somebody by the name of Lori Chavez DeRemer. She is the labor secretary, a newly appointed labor secretary. I want you to listen to what she says on Fox News because I think she forgot how she got the job. Have a listen to this.
Well, I can tell you this. My door is always open. I talk to everybody. I don't want to disregard the American people. I was elected as the labor secretary for all Americans. But I can tell you, we are not hearing the anger. Sure, is there uncertainty sometimes? They want to make sure. Listen, I talk to business owners who are frustrated. What are they frustrated about? They're frustrated about in these interest rates.
So she's frustrated about interest rates, or she's saying that people in America are frustrated about all the interest rates. Just one thing, she is not elected as the labor secretary for all Americans. She claimed that she was elected. I just want to remind her, Lori, just for your information, you're not an elected official, okay? Donald Trump appointed you in that position. Nobody elected you into that position. And then there goes ICE official Madison Sheehan. Now, Madison Sheehan is making the point, again, on Fox Noise, that all these ICE agents are coming to a city near you, and she's defending it and saying that they're being sent out to the toughest cities in America. We'll get to that because that's not a true statement, but have a listen to what she had to say.
But if these Democrat-run cities don't want to work with us, we will continue to go into these cities, and Chicago is another great example of that.
So just quickly, I know you don't want to get ahead of the secretary or any plans with a timeline on Chicago, but is it fair to say then that Chicago is going to see a crackdown, whether they want it or not?
Look, we are going to be going into the toughest cities in America, protecting the American people, choosing to put the American people first every single day. We will remove rapists, murderers, and traffickers from the streets in order to protect the American people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're sending them into the toughest cities in America. D.C. isn't one of the toughest cities in America. Chicago's not one of the toughest cities in America. Baltimore's not one of the toughest cities in America. If that was the case, you would have sent them into Memphis, Tennessee, or Little Rock, Arkansas, or many other cities, some who are run by Republicans. You're not sending all these agents into, quote, the toughest cities. You're sending them into Democrat-run cities. That is a lie. Oh, yeah, and then there's William Pulte, this moron Trump official, who gets into the weeds talking about mortgage fraud. It is quite interesting because they don't want to talk about the Ken Paxton case, but listen to what this Trump official actually had to say. This is William Pulte, and what this official in the Trump administration had to say about mortgage fraud. I find it very interesting.
Why a second criminal referral?
Well, as you know, mortgage fraud is a huge priority of ours. It's been a huge priority, contrary to what Democrats and everybody wants to say since March. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you commit mortgage fraud in this country, we're going to come after you. And in the case of Ms. Cook, it appears that she has committed blatant mortgage fraud. And we can't be having somebody like that in the Federal Reserve. So it will be up to the DOJ what they end up doing here. But things do not look very good for Ms. Cook.
Interesting. You're talking about Ms. Cook. Why won't you ever bring up Ken Paxton? Oh, maybe it has something to do with the fact that he's a Republican. I don't hear any MAGA Republicans talking about Ken Paxton and his mortgage fraud, but they want to go after the black female. I find that very, very convenient, don't you? I don't think that's a coincidence. Do you? And then there's Senator Roger Marshall spreading medical misinformation. Yes, that's right. He was asked about monkeypox, And you won't believe his response. And this is a man who is an elected official. This guy is a senator. Listen to what he says about monkeypox and the only people that he claims that can get it. Have a listen to this.
The president fired the recent director just a few weeks after taking the job, and we're also hearing about resignations and political infighting behind the scenes. What's your reaction to this leadership shakeup?
Well, number one, it's not lost upon me the hypocrisy of the Democrat Party. Not one Senate Democrat voted for Dr. Monera's, the CDC director that was recently fired. Not one of them, but now they've lost their mind again. Why? Because they have Trumpitis. And then you think about the rest of this crew. The crew that quit here are the folks that were standing right beside, arm in arm with Anthony Fauci, delivering lie after lie about the COVID vaccine. You fast forward to the monkeypox. This is the same group of so-called experts that told the entire country we should live in fear of monkeypox, but failed to tell us that unless you're a homosexual man, you don't have to worry about this at all, that monkeypox is a sexually transmitted disease. The group of people that quit here have made an entire career studying sexually transmitted viruses like hepatitis and HIV and monkeypox. They see all they have is a hammer, and they see every problem, is a nail to them. That's all they want to talk about is vaccines. It's time to maybe flip the agenda, and this is why President Trump chose Bobby Kennedy Jr. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is a disruptor. We need to shift the focus of the CDC from immunizations to treating these chronic problems, preventing the chronic diseases that 60% of Americans have.
Let me be very clear. Monkeypox is not classified as an STD. Monkeypox can be spread through touch, clothing, bedding, even droplets. Senator Roger Marshall has absolutely no idea what he is talking about because he is another right-wing buffoon trying to play doctor. Maybe he's getting his information from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That could be very possible. I don't know. That is a blatant lie, what Roger Marshall just said. It is misinformation, and it is a lie. These are elected officials that have a responsibility to tell the truth. Speaking of responsibilities to tell the truth, let's talk about Kristi Noem for a moment. Now, we know that a judge has ruled officially today that Donald Trump deploying the National Guard into LA was unlawful. The same thing will happen if he tries to deploy the national troops into other cities across the country. Much easier for him legally to do it in D.C. than any other city outside of D.C. I want you to listen to what Kristi Noem said about the deployment of the National Guard to L.A. Now, I want you to also keep in mind, these were just a few blocks. Local law enforcement said they had it handled, they had it contained, and then you had a bunch of National Guard out there with no place to sleep, sleeping on the floor, with no food, no water, and doing yard work, which is really what they were doing. But listen to what Kristi Noem had to say about this.
I do know that LA wouldn't be standing today if President Trump hadn't taken action. Then that city would have burned down if left to the devices of the mayor and the governor of that state. And so the citizens who live there, the small business owners in downtown LA, they're thankful that President Trump came in with federal law enforcement officers and helped support keeping those streets open, keep their homes and businesses from burning down, and made sure the law and order was restored.
Now, normally this would just be like a Saturday Night Live skit. Normally this would be funny. But this is the idiot that Republicans have put their trust in a very key position to protect Americans. Kristi Noem, who is a complete idiot. And she says LA would not be there if Donald Trump didn't deploy the National Guard to help save 2 blocks of LA. LA's pretty big, by the way. And local law enforcement clearly said that they had it covered and they didn't need the extra help. But Kristi Noem says LA would be gone if not for Donald Trump. I mean, it really is. You can't make this stuff up with these idiots. And Kristi Noem is certainly one of them. Keep your dogs away from her. Alexa on the YouTube Super Chat says the American people need food, Medicaid care, and somewhere to live. That's what they need. Well, I certainly agree with you, Alexa. But the way Donald Trump is going and will continue to go, he will again be catering to the top 1% and the richest Americans in this country. It's sick. It's absolutely disgusting. And I can also tell you that it's going to continue. It's going to continue. And we are in dire straits right now. We're in some dangerous times. Is the National Guard going to be deployed to Chicago? Will it be Baltimore? I don't know. The other disgusted veteran also says, we were all high school students. What we do now is if a high school kid wants to get to a weapon, they will. To think otherwise is belligerent ignorance. Well, obviously, I agree with you. And when you look at this horrible tragedy that took place in Minnesota, as Minneapolis, as I open up the phone line, 702-221-7283, when you look at the tragedy and the shooting that took place last week and innocent children that lost their lives, it's very simple to me that MAGA Republicans for years don't want to do anything to address this problem. And all they say is pray. Well, here's the problem. Everybody that was shot that day was praying. And all you hear from the Mike Johnsons of the world are thoughts and prayers. And every single time a horrible tragedy like this happens, it's thoughts and prayers, and there's no action. So what is going on in this country right now? Thoughts and prayers after another horrible tragedy in a school. We have over 15 million Americans that are going to be losing their Medicaid coverage. We have some documented, some undocumented immigrants that are getting no due process at all, even though in our Constitution, it says any person deserves the right to due process. And as we speak right now, Donald Trump continues to talk about sending in the National Guard to cities like Chicago and other cities. They continue to attack trans people. They continue to attack brown people. They continue to attack those that are underprivileged, that are living paycheck to paycheck, that are struggling to make it, while the tech billionaires out there have the biggest tax cuts we've ever had in the history of this country. Is this the America that you want to live in, MAGA? I open up the phone lines to anybody out there, including MAGA. What do you like about what Donald Trump is doing? What has he accomplished in 7 months? I would love to hear from you. The number to call is 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you would like to be a part of the conversation, it's 702-221-7283. Also, we are in the YouTube super chat where your questions and comments will be heard as well. Again, that's 702-221-7283. MAGA callers are welcome. Let's start off with Ian. Ian is first up on PTL. Hey, Ian, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, it's Ian Field from LA. Do you remember me? Blunt Clothing?
Yes, sir. How's it going, Ian?
Yeah.
What's on your mind today?
There's so much stuff I could talk about, but actually I just want to say to you, I've been seeing you a lot on Instagram, a lot of your things that you've been doing. Like I'm seeing you on Facebook and Instagram, and I just want to say congrats.
Thank you. You know, it is interesting. I don't even have an Instagram. People are making money off of my content.
Well, no, I don't. Okay. Well, I don't want to say that,
yeah.
But it could be part of the, you're getting a lot of the, what is it? You've joined other groups, like,
Good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So I just want to say congrats, man. I love you.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of stuff I could talk about, but I don't really want to go into the weeds. I think, I'm glad that I get to listen to you Monday through Friday.
Oh, well, thanks.
And
thanks,
proud of you.
friend.
I'm proud of you, Brian.
Well, that means
so
a lot.
Let's get some MAGA callers in so we can all be
they're scared.
And have a great week.
Thank you, my friend. Ian, I appreciate your call. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. It is interesting because, DL Hughley retweeted some of, or whatever you would call it, on Instagram. He put out some of my videos, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, I didn't post any of that on Instagram. And not to name drop, but I guess I will here. Some of you might think I'm a douchebag, but that's okay. I was hanging out with a few celebrity friends of mine in LA last week. And one of them happened to be the beautiful and talented Vivica A. Fox. She's a great friend of mine. She's awesome. And she told me she keeps seeing all my stuff on Instagram. And I'm like, I don't even have Instagram. Who's doing this stuff? I'm not posting it up. People are making money off of my content, but whatever. People could do worse. But I appreciate those kind words, Ian. That means a lot. And it's good to be back here, by the way. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. MAGA callers are welcome. What do you like about what Donald Trump is doing now? Do you think he looks healthy? Where was he? And by the way, for a year, he didn't hold a press conference when he was president first go around. So don't you start talking to me about how Joe Biden's in the bunker. Okay. Donald Trump is no spring chicken. He does not look healthy. He looks like he's struggling. What the hell was that thing on his hand? What was that? What was that all about? 70. And by the way, him dragging his right leg. What the hell was that all about too? 702-221-7283. That's 702-221-SAVE. if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Joseph. Joseph is next up on PTL. Hey, Joseph, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. All right. Here's my piece. Hearing Kristi Noem saying that Trump sending the National Guard to L.A. basically goes to show that this is what Trump wants. He wants to bring authoritarianism into America, into California. But thanks to Gavin Newsom, I'm sure he's going to defeat Trump no matter what and probably fire Kristi Noem.
I mean, listen, that wouldn't surprise me, Joseph. But the fact that Kristi Noem continues to kiss Donald Trump's ass in every avenue, it's absolutely despicable and pathetic, just like everybody else in his administration. But Kristi Noem might be the dumbest person in the Trump administration. That actually might be possible. She said L.A., quote, wouldn't be standing if President Trump hadn't taken action. 2 blocks that were deployed into L.A., 2 blocks, and local law enforcement said they had it under control and they didn't need any extra help. But to people like Kristi Noem, she will say the world wouldn't be standing if not for Donald Trump. I mean, it's never ending with these people in Donald Trump's administration. And maybe Kristi Noem is afraid that she gets fired. I don't know, but they have been kissing his ass since day one, and they will continue to do so, just like anybody else in Washington, D.C. right now that has an R next to their name, because quite frankly, they're afraid of him.
I agree on that too. And not to mention, I did enjoy how South Park did make a jokes on Trump and Kristi Noem. That goes to show that this is what they wanted. I like how South Park does what they do best, is to make jokes on Trump. And I don't care if Trump and Kristi Noem or J.D. Vance or any of those Republicans get pissed off about it. But me, I find it funny.
I do too. I do too. I think South Park's great, my friend, and I appreciate your call, Joe. It's good to hear from you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Luke. Luke is next up on PTL. What's going on, Luke?
Yeah, Brian, how's it going?
Hey, good. What's on your mind?
I'm a leftist. I wonder what your solution is to these gun issues, because we live in a very rural area here in Kentucky, and our kids, they have several teachers and retired state trooper that are armed. I heard Ron talking about, are they going to keep them locked up? Kids enter these classrooms, high schoolers. These teachers have them on them. They're not leaving them lay around.
Right.
We feel comfortable with our teachers. I mean, my aunt used to carry. She was a band director.
Sure.
During her class.
Yeah. So Luke,
I know we have a lot of laws in the books, drinking and driving. If someone wants to unalive someone, they're going to do it. It sucks. Yeah. Absolutely sucks. But I just don't see any laws that are going to take care of this situation.
Yeah. So here's where I respectfully disagree with you a little bit. And I've talked about this a lot on the show. By the way, I believe everyone should have the right to carry, so long as you're not a felon and you're not mentally ill. I'm not opposed to that, but there are multiple things that I think we can do as a society that would make things safer. Number one, I believe the age should go from 18 to 21. I don't believe 18 years old is old enough to carry a firearm. Number two, there has to be mandatory training. What good is it if you own a firearm if you don't know how to use it and you don't know how to store it? That's dangerous. Number three, I believe weapons should be treated the same as a car. You have to re-register your car in order to get your driver's license. They have to do a medical checkup on you. You have to make sure, eyesight, for example, if you don't have any health conditions that could affect your driving, you have to take a test. I believe that would work as well. I believe red flag laws need to be tightened up. In every state, red flag laws are very inconsistent. I'm not saying if somebody just calls the police and says, hey, this guy threatened me, they should take all your weapons away. It should be a case-by-case basis. But in the Parkland shooting, police were called out to that kid's place over 80 times. He should have never been allowed to have a firearm. And, and there has to be some responsibility, too. And I think the laws need to be stricter when it comes to selling someone a firearm that is illegal, or illegally selling someone a firearm, or being caught with a firearm that is illegal. I think it should be a mandatory prison sentence. And I think if you implemented those things, it wouldn't end everything. I'm not necessarily saying that the shooting in Minneapolis would not have happened. But what I am saying is I guarantee you if we had an assault weapons ban as well, that's another one, the violence would go down. Now, how much? I don't know. But the problem is if you just give me 2 out of those 6 things, it would help. But Republicans don't have any solutions. They say more weapons make us safer, which is a blatant lie. If more weapons made us safer, then we would be one of the safest countries in the world when it comes to this stuff. And that's not the case. What frustrates me is Republicans don't make any good faith arguments. They want to get into the depths with me on what an assault weapon is instead of coming up with any solutions. Ask a MAGA Republican that make love to their weapons every night. Ask them what their solutions are. They don't have any solutions. They have none. And now Donald Trump is talking about allowing teachers to carry weapons in school. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. See, I mean, we're way out here in the boonies here in Kentucky, and it would take forever for our law enforcement. And, you know, everybody around here, even on the left, we are in agreement with the teachers and the faculty that, you know, actually have their concealed. I mean, I'm a 2A myself. I have 2 safes. Not the first AR. I don't need that. I don't know.
Why would you? Why would you need that? Why does someone need to shoot 30 times in a span of 10 seconds? Why does anybody need that?
A lot of people mistake the AR because a lot of my buddies up here hunt with the AR.
Right.
There's different calibers in the AR frame. They're not all. They're not all.
But those weapons were not built for self-defense. They were built to end as many lives as possible in a short period of time. And that's why, my friend, I do not believe that those weapons should be sold to the general public. They should be given to our local law enforcement and our brave men and women in uniform. I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283, the number to call. MAGA callers always welcome. Let's go to Ken. Ken is next up on PTL. Hello, Ken.
Well, people want to know, did J.D. Shapiro have any good couch time over the weekend?
You know what? That's funny. I'm going to give you a 30-second rundown on how my weekend went. Okay? How about that? You ready?
Yes, sir.
So I arrived in San Diego Wednesday night. I drove out to LA and saw one of my favorite musicians of all time from one of my favorite bands of all time. He's done this show before. Richard Patrick of Filter, formerly of Nine Inch Nails. We met, and you guys are going to be angry at me for this, but Richard wanted to meet at the Elon Musk Tesla Diner. It's the only one in the world. You might have heard of it. So we meet in downtown LA there. It was horrible. I had a $40 burger and fries. It was terrible. And then he's like, Brian, I want to show you what these driverless vehicles are like because they have these in LA. So he ordered a driverless vehicle for me. And we went in the car and he's like, where do you want to go? I said, let's go to a music store. Let's see if they have any of your albums. So we go into this, I think it's called Amoeba. It's a very popular music store like in Hollywood. And I saw some of his albums and I made some funny videos because he's there looking at me while I'm looking at his album. I'm like, is this album good, sir? So that was fun. Thursday was fun. Friday, I hung out with Nicole Mitchell. If you guys listen to the show, which I'm sure you do, on Fridays, Nicole Mitchell, who's a good friend of mine, we were hanging out at the beach all day. It was a really tough job, but I was able to get through it. A really tough day. We went to Laguna Beach. And then Saturday, I hung out with my good friend, actress Vivica A. Fox. We had like a 5-hour lunch at Cheesecake Factory. And we talked about life. We talked about relationships. We talked about everything. And I feel like 20 people came up to her for like a picture in the middle of us having lunch. People are so rude, but that was it. And then that night I went back to the hotel and I saw a couple good bands, Hoobastank and Everclear, a couple of good 90s alternative rock bands. And now here I am back in Las Vegas. So there you go. That was my trip.
So you earned it. You deserve it.
Well, thank you. No couches, no JD Vance couches.
I had to do it, sir. Have a good day.
Thanks, my friend. I appreciate it. That was funny. I don't mind a little levity on this show now and again. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Vivian. Vivian is next up on PTL. Hi, Vivian.
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Good.
You sound very refreshed and relaxed and everything. And too bad you have to come back to all this craziness, but it is what it is.
Vivian's one of my favorite names, by the way. I won't say why, but I just wanted to share that with you. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to talk about what you were talking about, like with the National Guard. To me, the National Guard are being used incorrectly. You're taking these people away from their families, their homes, to do nothing, and you're trying to make out like they're helping with the crime. They're not helping with the crime. People are scared to go out on the street. So they're not doing their regular activity that they will usually do on a normal day because they're scared.
Well, you're right about that.
Of course, things going to go down.
You're right about that. And listen, here's the argument, right, from MAGA Republicans and idiots like Clay Travis. They'll be like, why are Democrats so angry that Donald Trump is trying to clean up the streets? Well, first of all, if he really wanted to make America safer, like he claims, then he would deploy the National Guard into the most dangerous cities in the country. For example, Memphis, Tennessee, Little Rock, Arkansas. All you got to do is go down the list. Chicago's like number 96 per capita with violent crime. This isn't about making America safer. It's definitely not about making D.C. safer, because Donald Trump, if you recall, pardoned over 1,500 people, some of whom beat police officers with their own batons. And he called those people patriots and hostages. This isn't about making anybody safer. This is about Donald Trump appealing to the base of MAGA deplorables and sticking out his obese chest and, doing whatever he can do and showing the power in it and going after the Democrats and owning the libs. This isn't about making America safer. If it was, even though I probably wouldn't agree with it, it would make more sense if he just went down the list of the most dangerous cities in the country. But we know he's not doing that, Vivian. He's not doing that.
No, he's not. Not at all.
Yeah. Take that phone call. That sounds more important.
Thank you, Brian.
All right.
Take care now.
Thanks, Vivian.
Bye.
Have a good one. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Shelley. Shelley's not on the line. Let's go to Brett on line 6, if I may. Hi, Brett. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Hey.
I haven't been listening to the show, so I don't really know the topics. But
how dare
earlier
you?
I was listening to Trump's press conference, and all I could think of was like, I just can't even believe these idiots are still on board with this guy. There's nothing that he says is truthful or factual. I mean, he said that he didn't know anything about all the talk about him being dead. He blamed the media for starting the rumor, which I don't know of any media outlet that said that he was dead. It was basically social media stuff. Yeah. He said Chicago is the most violent city in the world,
which is not true. That's a blatant lie.
It's not even in the country, is it?
No, it's not even top 50 most dangerous cities. I believe it's in the 90s. Listen, every large city is going to have crime. Every large city, everybody wants to be safe. I get that. This isn't about making these cities safer. This is about Donald Trump owning the libs, going into these Democrat cities. Again, I repeat myself. Memphis, Tennessee is the most dangerous city in the country. Why has Donald Trump never even mentioned that city? He hasn't even brought it up, because this isn't about the most dangerous cities and cleaning up these cities. It's about Donald Trump owning the libs and, overuse of power. And by the way, what he's doing is unlawful. And a judge just decided that was unlawful, what they did in LA. It was completely unlawful.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I just laugh at these people, and I'm like, when are you going to realize that you voted for authoritarianism? You voted for the richest people in the country, just controlling the government and destroying the middle class. You guys, you must have wanted it, because you didn't listen to us when we told you that it was all about Project 2025. And what did they do? They started implementing Project 2025, and what are they?
You're right.
70% through it.
You're right.
Ridiculous. They're a bunch of clowns. I can't take them serious. But one more serious thing was that I want to talk about. How was Laguna?
Oh, Laguna Beach is great, but when you're lying next to Nicole Mitchell, it makes the experience just a little bit better.
Yeah, that helps.
If I was lying next to Donald Trump with his shirt off, I would have stomach cramps and I would probably vomit. But I'd be
inverted.
Being able to hang out with Nicole for a day on Laguna Beach is much easier on the eyes.
But yes. Laguna's beautiful, man. It's
I had a good time.
Places.
I had a good time, man. I really did. I really enjoyed myself. Thanks for the call, my friend. Good to hear from you, Brett. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Later, Brian.
Thank you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to X. X is next up on PTL. Hey, X. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind? Hi, X. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry. I hope you enjoyed your vacation.
I did. Thank you, sir. What's on your mind today?
Oh, what's on my mind today? A few things I wanted to say. What I want to know is, are you going to go to Piers Morgan again? I want to see you and that your friends.
Of course. Yeah, Piers Morgan. I will continue to do his show. Absolutely, 100%.
Get Leonard in there too, if you can. He's a really nice guy.
Leonard is a really nice guy. They did a good, and by the way, thanks to Paul Lance and Leonard for filling in for me Thursday, Friday. They did a good job. So what do you?
What I'm saying is,
go ahead.
What I'm saying is, get Leonard too. I kind of want to see you and Leonard, debate. Who do I see? Would be a good person to debate against. What I'm saying,
no doubt. All right, so let me ask you a question, X, if I may. because you've called into this show before and you said Donald Trump's doing an okay job. So a judge just decided that Donald Trump sending the National Guard and troops into LA is unlawful. Are you still okay with Donald Trump pressing the issue and trying to send in the National Guard to, say, Chicago or a Baltimore? Are you okay with that?
If the judge said no and the citizens don't want it, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's
right. But Donald Trump has defied the Supreme Court. He's already defied judges' rulings, right? You are aware of that. Are you okay with our president defying a judge and defying the Supreme Court?
No, listen, the Supreme Court, are his people, and if they're saying no, then there's a good reason.
He's already defied the Supreme Court when it came to Garcia, when Garcia was deported to El Salvador. So he's already defied the Supreme Court, and I'm sure he will do it again.
Then that's wrong, because the Supreme Court is more on his side. Biased towards his side. Not on that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be defending him. If he's wrong, I'm not his dad.
What has he done right? What has he done right in the first 7 months of this administration?
I mean, okay, fine. You want to talk about, I already told you, I think it's, deportation standards, I think it's decent.
So you think it's decent not to give people due process and to arrest people outside of courtrooms and separate families and mothers and fathers that have lived in this country for decades, that have never committed a violent crime in their life, getting no due process at all and being deported to countries where they're not even from, in El Salvador prisons? And you're okay with that?
Can I know people who have been deported without due process? Can I know names? That's what I'm saying. Can I know names?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean names? It's happening every day. We see it on video. It says in our Constitution, any person deserves the right to due process. When you put cuffs on somebody and you don't give them a day in court, they're not getting due process. What do you mean names? It's happening everywhere, every day. Thousands of people it's happening to every day. People are not getting due process. And you're sending people to prisons that are some of the highest maximum security prisons in the world with literally no due process, people that have never committed a violent crime in their life and never been even charged, let alone convicted of a violent crime. That's the definition of not getting due process. You know that that's happening.
I'm saying it's their names, though. That's what I'm saying. Because
what do you mean? Okay, Garcia. Mr. Garcia was sent to an El Salvador prison, never convicted of a violent crime in his life. Did he get due process?
I saw his knuckles, even though I don't like this guy.
That was superimposed. Okay, so first of all, is it against the law to have a tattoo in this country? Is it against the law to have a tattoo in this country? Is it against the law to have a tattoo? Please answer the question.
It's not the tattoo. It's like what it said.
Okay. Is it against the law to have a tattoo when you don't like what it says?
It says MS-13.
Is it against the law to have a tattoo in this country that says, by the way, he didn't, but is it against the law, hypothetically speaking, is it against the law to have a tattoo that says MS-13? If I went to a tattoo shop, or you went right now, and I said, I want MS-13 tattooed on my knuckles, would I be arrested? Is that against the law? Sir? Is it against the law? Yes or no? I mean, it's a pretty simple question. I'm asking you a very simple question.
I don't want them in the civilized world.
It's not what, okay, but it's not what you want. We're talking about the law. I'm asking you a very specific question. Listen, there's a lot of people that I don't want in my neighborhood, like MAGA people. But guess what? If you're a MAGA, it's not against the law. I might not like it, but that doesn't mean that I think you should be deported to El Salvador. I'm asking you the same question again. You mentioned Garcia's tattoos. By the way, he does not have MS-13 on his knuckles. That was Photoshop. But let's go back to my original question, which you still have not answered. Is it illegal for somebody in the United States of America to get a tattoo, even if you don't like it, or if it says something like MS-13? Is that against the law? Yes or no?
Enrique Garcia was deported also.
Why won't you answer my question, though? I've asked you now 8 times. I'm going to ask it again. Is it against the law in this country to have a tattoo that says MS-13? Yes or no? Why can't you answer the question?
He was deported.
I'm going to ask you one more time. X, because you're frustrating me. Okay. I'm trying to have a civil conversation with you. But when I ask you the same question, hold on. When I ask you the same question 10 times and you don't answer it, it's very frustrating. I asked you, okay, thank you. Why did it take you 8 times to answer it? Of course it's not illegal. It's not about what you don't like. So do you want to live, hold on. So do you want to live in a country where people don't get due process? Even if they don't break the law because you don't like a tattoo that allegedly is on somebody's knuckles. Is that the country that you want to live in, sir?
He was deported years ago.
Sir, he was sent to an El Salvador prison, never convicted of a violent crime, into one of the highest maximum security prisons in the world. And you're defending it because you don't allegedly like one of his tattoos. Do you understand why that is wrong? That is why he did not get due process. Just because you don't like... Okay, so should Pete Hegseth be deported? Let me ask you a question.
He was deported years ago.
Let me ask you a question. By the way, he wasn't deported to his home country, and he was deported to an El Salvador prison. So Pete Hegseth has a tattoo that says 100% white. I don't like that tattoo. Somebody could say that has white supremacist tendencies. So by your standards, Pete Hegseth should be deported to an El Salvador prison? Should Pete Hegseth be deported? Should Pete Hegseth be deported to an El Salvador prison? Yes or no?
I'm not going to be defending him. Like,
should Pete Hegseth be deported to an El Salvador prison? Yes or no?
No.
No. Then why should Garcia be deported? Because you don't like his tattoo?
He was illegal. That's why.
No. Then if you're illegal, then guess what? If you're undocumented, it doesn't matter whether you've committed a violent crime or not. You're okay with them being deported, not to their home country, and number 2, to one of the highest maximum security prisons in the world. You're okay with that?
You just want to argue. You don't want to.
I'm asking you a very specific question. You don't want to answer. I'm going to ask it again. I'm not talking about if somebody is just undocumented, because Garcia was an undocumented immigrant who had never been convicted of a violent crime. My question to you is, are you okay with anybody in this country that is an undocumented immigrant sent to an El Salvador prison, one of the highest maximum security prisons in the world, where they are beaten, where they are forced to sleep on their knees, where they are given 1 meal a day? If you are undocumented in this country, are you okay with people being treated that way without the right to due process?
This is, again, it's about Abrigo Garcia. That's what it's about. That's what the question is.
No, it's not. I'm giving you one example. There are many other examples of people that have been treated that way. Why won't you answer that question?
I've answered it. You're trying to ask me the same question in multiple different...
So answer.
I do. But why do you want to ask me the same question?
Answer it. You haven't answered it. Are you okay with that?
I already answered about Abrigo Garcia.
Answer the question. Why won't you answer?
I refuse to answer that question.
You refuse. Okay, then I refuse. Then I refuse to have a conversation with you because you're a coward. You're a coward because you know that's not right. You know that everyone in this country deserves the right to due process. Doesn't matter whether they're undocumented or not, because it says any person in our Constitution. And you don't want to answer the question because you know it's wrong. Everybody has the right to due process. I don't want violent criminals in this country, especially if they're undocumented. But that's not what we're talking about here. And you want to defend Donald Trump until the cows come home, and then you refuse to answer a direct question because you know it'll make you sound bad if you answer it the right way or the wrong way. It's ridiculous. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon is next up on PTL. Hey, Brandon, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, before I get to my point here, that senator you're playing about the monkeypox, that guy is like spot on. He is 100% right. It is a consequence of unnatural activity. Now, Trump
hold on. Let's talk about that, sir. First of all, what is your definition of unnatural activity?
Anything that does not produce life.
Anything that does. Okay, so if you don't produce life, you're unnatural?
Well, yeah, like monkeypox is a result of sodomy. It goes against
No, it's not.
God's law.
You are 150% wrong. Again, monkeypox can be spread through clothing, bedding, and droplets. Tell me what is unnatural about that.
Well, it's a result of sodomy.
Not true. Did you hear what I just said? Let me repeat so you can understand, maybe. Monkeypox can be spread through clothing, bedding, or even droplets. What part of that is unnatural? Answer the question.
It comes from unnatural activity. It's like the side effect.
Okay, so a sneeze is unnatural.
A sneeze is not, but like.
Oh, okay. Hold on. So a sneeze is not unnatural. What about bedding? Is that unnatural? What about if someone sleeps on a bed? Is that unnatural? Or if somebody gets something through clothing that they wore, is that unnatural? Are any of those things unnatural, sir? I know you want to blame this on homosexuals because you're probably homophobic. But you see, sir, monkeypox.
I'm not afraid of anybody.
Is monkeypox classified as an STD? Yes or no?
It should be.
It's not, though. Why do you think so? Because there are people that are a lot smarter than you that know what they're talking about that have not characterized it as an STD. You know why? Because it's not an STD, and you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I think your brain is unnatural. That's what I think. I think you have a problem with homosexuality, sir. That's what I think. Do you have a problem with homosexuals, sir?
I don't have a problem with it.
Oh, you don't? Then why would you say it's unnatural?
Because sodomy is
two homosexuals having sex is not sodomy. I am asking you a question. What's unnatural about homosexuality? Answer the question.
It doesn't produce life.
So in your opinion, it's unnatural if you don't produce life. So if you're having sex with a woman with a condom, that's unnatural? According by your definition.
Yes, it is, because it's not open to life.
So sex is unnatural unless you impregnate a woman. What if a woman can't get pregnant? Is sex unnatural for a woman who can't get pregnant that adopts kids? Do you realize how stupid your argument is? So anybody that's not producing a child, that's unnatural if you're having sexual relations. Is that your definition, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had sex with anybody without impregnating them? By the way, I would be shocked if any woman or man would go anywhere near you. But have you ever had sex with anybody and not impregnated them? Has that ever happened in your life, sir?
Mm-hmm.
So why are you having unnatural sex then?
It just we haven't been blessed yet.
Oh, okay. So it's unnatural, but so you're saying that if a woman can't have children, she's not blessed? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the woman can't have children. I mean, that's just
she's not blessed. She's unnatural. So she's unnatural, and so she shouldn't have sex then because it's unnatural, according to you.
No, she can. It's just
that's very nice of you. Got you. Okay, so now that we've proven you're a complete imbecile when it comes to monkeypox, and you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, and you claim that every single time someone has sexual relations, it's unnatural unless they're conceiving a child, and we've proven that you're a complete imbecile. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about today, sir?
Yes, but the main point that I wanted to call about is that Trump was talking about having guns in school. I think every single teacher in the school should be carrying a gun outside of the waistband.
Got you. So kindergarten teachers should be carrying weapons. What are we going to do about all the violence when it comes to malls or shootings everywhere else outside of schools? What are your solutions there, sir? You think more guns make us safer? Is that what you think?
An armed society is a polite society.
So why? Okay, so let me ask you a question then. We have 140 weapons per 100 people in this country. We have more weapons in this country than almost any other country in the world. We also have more gun violence than almost any other country in the world. So what's your explanation there?
Well, I think the problem is with the human heart, not the gun itself.
The problem is a human heart. So if somebody has a bad human heart and they're mentally ill, are you okay with them walking into a store and buying thousands of rounds of ammunition and a bunch of AR-15s? What's your solution, sir? How do we fix a bad heart? How do we fix a bad heart, sir? What's your solution to all the violence in this country? Give me a solution.
Society needs to embrace Christ, who is the King of the universe.
Society needs to embrace Christ. Okay, let's talk about that. The kids that lost their lives in that school, they were all praying. Did Christ help them? What would be your solution to the people that were praying in that church when their lives were lost? Praying didn't seem to help them, did it, sir? You are a fool. That's what you are. You're a fool.
Well, Brian.
No, don't Brian me. What do you bringing up Jesus for? There were innocent children in that church that lost their lives that were praying, you stupid idiot.
I know you reject him, but the thing is that
I never said I rejected anything. I reject your premise that what we need to do is pray. You're one of those same idiots that says thoughts and prayers after a bunch of innocent children lose their lives because you're a moron and you don't have any solutions. I ask again, What do you say to those children that were praying at the time they lost their lives? Your praying is BS and it's nonsense. And you don't have any solutions. Praying.
Well, a solution
Why don't
for the
you
school
pray?
would be,
Why don't you pray and go into one of the dangerous cities in America, and then when somebody has you at gunpoint, you think praying will help you, sir?
it's good for the soul, yes.
It's
However,
good for.
though,
I didn't ask
kids
you. I didn't ask you what was good for the soul. I asked you what should we do to end all the violence in this country when it comes to weapons. And the only thing that you can say is pray. That makes you an idiot. Don't Brian me. Don't Brian me. What are your solutions? And don't you mention Jesus again, or I'm going to hang up the phone on you, you right-wing fool. Give me a solution.
Well, the solution in terms of like schools is we need to have.
No, I didn't. I didn't say schools.
Start coming.
Okay. What are the? Okay. Hey, dumbass. What is the percentage of trans people that have committed mass shootings in this country? Do you know, dumbass?
I don't know.
No, of course you don't know because you don't know anything. It's less than 1%. So what?
They're of the devil.
It's less than 1%, dumbass.
They are of the devil.
You're of the devil. What do we do with 99%? What do we do with the 99% of the other shootings that are taking place? Give me a solution, and don't mention Jesus and don't mention transgenders, you idiot. Give me a solution.
They need to go to confess and then get right with God. That's what they need to do.
So the innocent children that lost their lives, is that why they lost their lives? Because they weren't going to confession? Do you realize how stupid you sound?
I didn't say that, but you need to go to confess.
No, okay, I'm going to confess. Okay, we're going to go to confession right now. I confess that a very small percentage of my listeners, like this gentleman that's on the line right now, is very ignorant, very ill-informed, and he's part of the reason why Donald Trump won in 2024. I'm going to confess that people like this guy on the phone right now make me sick to my stomach. I'm going to confess that it embarrasses me to be an American, and it embarrasses me to be a white American, to have a moron like this on the phone. That is my confession. I'm going to pray right now with you, sir, okay? This is part of our confession. I'm going to pray with you. You ready for this, sir? Because I know you like praying so much. Okay.
In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost.
This is my prayer. This is my prayer, not yours. That means you shut up. And you can say amen. You can say amen. You can say amen at the end, but this is my prayer, okay? I pray that this guy gets deported to Gaza. I pray that this guy gets deported to Russia. I pray that this guy gets sent to an El Salvador prison. You can give him his Bible and he can pray 24 hours a day. Sir, I'm praying and begging to Jesus, God, or whatever, or Donald Trump, whoever. I pray to Jesus Christ that you are deported from this country, sent to Gaza, and never allowed to come back. Okay? That was my confession, sir. I hope that was good enough for you. What do you think about that? You good with that confession?
You need to do a better examination of conscience because
Talk to me about conscience. Get off my show. Get off my show, you dope. Get off my show. How dare you? All the people in this country that are grieving, that have lost loved ones, and you say Jesus, they should have prayed more. How dare you? How dare you? I pray that idiots like you get deported to Gaza and never come back. That is my confession. I hope you like it, sir. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Can I get an amen? Amen. God, what a fool. God, there are so many stupid people that live in this country. It sickens me, man. Let's go. Who are we going to next? Let's go to Shelly. Shelly's next on PTL. What's up, Shelly?
Oh, my God, Brian. Whew. These freaking MAGA morons are idiots. If prayer helped, we would all be doing it, wouldn't we? And it would be, solved, all good, right?
I can't believe, Shelly. Shelly, I don't understand how we can have a horrible tragedy, what took place in Minneapolis, where innocent children that are literally praying at the time they lose their lives, and a jackass will call into the show and say, well, I know how we lower the violence. We all just need to pray. I mean, you can't talk to these people. They're so far gone. You can't talk to them.
Yeah, I had something else I was going to talk about, but no, oh God, this dude got me riled a little bit, just tad. Since Trump wants to play G.I. Joe, how about we send all these troops that he's wanting to move around the blue states?
Shelley, I am sorry.
We just do this.
Shelley, you got a bad phone line.
Those troops at school.
Well, you know what? I would have a Shelley, I'm sorry. Your phone was a little a bad reception there. I apologize. I would have a better feeling about sending troops outside of schools than sending troops to all these Democrat cities. So I certainly agree with you there. If we go to the YouTube super chat, Haranuga says, guess what? Monkeypox, propaganda, STD propaganda talking point, but you are late. Tell the MAGAs are late. It is not modern anymore. Well, obviously I agree with you. The guy who called up, who was talking about monkeypox, just like Senator Roger Marshall, these people have absolutely no idea what the hell they're talking about. It's insane. Let's see. Who's next? Matthew? Is Matthew next on PTL? Hey, let's go to Matthew. Matthew, what's up?
Good afternoon, Brian. How you doing, sir?
Good, Matthew. What's on your mind today?
Okay, Brother Brian, first off, I have a few things on my mind. First off, I want to commend you on how you handle these MAGA morons that call into your show. These people are so damn delusional and crazy. That's what I want to start off with. But the few other things I want to point out, too. At the beginning of this so-called presidency of the second term of Donald Trump, you saw Elon Musk more than you saw J.D. Vance. Now, all of a sudden, Trump is allegedly having bad health issues. And from what I'm gathering, they're vetting J.D. Vance to step in as the president, because I don't know if you saw the video on Keith Edwards' show. That's another guy that I follow.
Yep, I like
And
Keith.
this doctor said that he only has 6 to 8 months to live.
Well, listen, here's what I would say to that. I'm not a doctor and I'm not going to speculate, but here's what I will say. Donald Trump's skin can turn green. He could be in a wheelchair and be a vegetable, and MAGA Republicans would still say he's Superman, and they would still talk about Joe Biden's health. So, that's who they are. That's who these people are.
Yes. And I totally agree with you. And the second thing is my question is when it comes to NATO and Ukraine. Now, when I was going into high school in 1990, the requirement for Ukraine to be a part of NATO, they had to dismember their nuclear weapons program. They have dismembered their nuclear weapons program after 30 years. And President Zelensky knows that he's not going to be able to rely on the United States for aid and support in the war against Russia. And I truly believe that if Donald Trump stays in power, Russia will eventually take over Ukraine. But my question is, how come Ukraine is not in NATO? What the hell do they need to do to get them in there?
Well,
the third part.
It's a good question. It's a good question. And first of all, there's no way that Donald Trump is going to go against anything that Vladimir Putin doesn't want to happen. And Putin does not want Ukraine in NATO. Donald Trump has shown no evidence to suggest that he is going to side with Zelensky, and he is going to continue to side with Putin when Putin continues to end lives of innocent women and children and people in Ukraine. So that's a big problem. And I would say that we have a president, or lack thereof, and for whatever reason, he admires dictators. In this case, Vladimir Putin. We could be talking about a Kim Jong-un or Viktor Orban. He admires dictators, and he calls Zelensky a dictator who started this war, which we all know is not true as well, sir. I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much for the phone call. 702-221-7283. We also have some breaking news that the governor of Illinois shows Trump has begun staging Texas National Guard for deployment to Illinois. So it's going to be happening sooner than later. We were told that this was going to be happening in September. It's only going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. No money on the YouTube super chat says, Brian, did you get your Trump help me get into heaven text email asking for money yet? Yes, it's a real thing, and the grift continues. Well, if Donald Trump is not selling his trading cards or pieces of his suit when he was arraigned or indicted, it doesn't surprise me. What's next? I don't know. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Terry. Terry's next. Hello, Terry.
Hey, Brian, welcome back.
Thank you.
I have some thoughts and prayers. Thoughts? The Republicans don't give a damn about mass shootings. Prayers? Donald Trump won't stay in office for 3 more years.
Why do you say
starting
that?
there.
What do you think will happen?
Because I think his health is just too bad. I really do.
Well, listen, I'm going to be honest, and there's things that I would say off the air. Very few things that I would say off the air that I would never say on the air because I don't want the FBI coming after me, if you know what I'm saying. But I will say this. If that does happen, you won't see me shedding any tears. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I will say this, and some people might not like this. We know some people in our lives that are bad people that smoke cigarettes their entire life and they live to 120. We also know wonderful people and good people that work out every day and they eat healthy and somehow they lose their life in their 40s or 30s or 50s. So I don't know. But I'm going to tell you one thing for sure. We need to be prepared that Donald Trump is going to be the president for the next 3.5 years. We need to prepare ourselves for that. And with that being said, we have the midterms right around the corner and we can't rely on the fact that maybe his health isn't good. Does that make sense, Shelley?
Yeah, it does. I just think I see the decline in him, and I just can't imagine him being able to function as our president for 3 more years. Yeah.
No, listen, I appreciate that. And I appreciate your phone call, Terry. Thank you so much for your call. We appreciate you. Yep. Thank you. Good to hear from you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Gary. Gary is, I believe Gary's next up on PTL. Hey, Gary, what's going on?
Yeah, I've got a little wisdom down on Trump's health here because I've had experience. I used to like them stimulants like he does. You know, he takes his Ritalin. I used to do that street stuff back in the day. But I'll tell you what happens. Swollen ankles and all that stuff you're looking at, it's a chronic heart failure is what you're seeing on that guy. That's what I've had. They opened me up and did 7 bypasses operation because of my fun and games. And Trump is showing the same symptoms that I was before I finally found smarts and a good operation. I had a record-breaking 7 bypass operation because of my funny.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. Because I've had the swollen ankles. I've got the scar down my chest and in my career driving truck and stuff like that. Yeah. Boy, did I wish I drank Kool-Aid without the alcohol, you know.
Well, but sir, here's the important thing, right? You're still ticking, you're still going strong. I appreciate that about you, and you're welcome to call back anytime. Stick with the Kool-Aid. Don't drink the alcohol. All right, 70 MAGA callers always welcome. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Buck. Buck is next on PTL. Hello, Buck.
Yes, Buck. I'm MAGA.
Okay. So what do you like about Donald Trump?
I like that we're going to be saving money in our taxes next year. I know that.
And how are we going to do that?
He's going to cut the damn deficit, sir.
The deficit hasn't been cut. In fact, the big and beautiful bill extends the deficit trillions of dollars, several $1 trillion. So
you know what?
Yeah,
he's bringing jobs to our small town.
How's he bringing in jobs to small towns? What policy would lead you to believe that that's happening?
He's already started building 2 factories over here.
He started building. He started building 2 factories. Okay, I don't think he had anything to do with building.
Sir.
Okay, so what policy? What policy is Donald Trump responsible for building 2 factories in your hometown?
It has to do with the EV policy, and we're building
So Donald Trump's EV policy is responsible because of. By the way, are you understanding that under the Joe Biden administration we had record highs in manufacturing jobs? Or are you completely unaware of that? Are you also unaware that Donald Trump got us $8.2 trillion in debt? If you care so much about the deficit, why would you be okay with what Donald Trump is doing, giving the biggest tax breaks to the top 1% that this country has ever seen? If you care about the deficit, then why would you be okay with the big and beautiful bill, which literally adds trillions? No. I'm asking you. No. Let's have a conversation, my friend. Okay. Why would you be okay with the big and beautiful bill that adds trillions of dollars to the deficit? If you care about the deficit, it's a pretty simple question, right?
You don't even know that yet, sir.
Actually, brilliant economists all over the world, including Republicans. Republicans.
Oh, did they say that?
Okay. Yes, actually, they did. There are MAGA Republicans that even admitted on Fox News that it would add trillions of dollars to the deficit. You obviously don't know what's in this bill, sir. So when you say you claim, what did Donald Trump do his first go around when it came to the deficit? What did he do? Do you know?
I don't really care.
You don't really care. So you don't care what Donald Trump did his first 4 years in office. By the way, he added. Okay,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the prior administration does. Okay, just to fill you in, sir, since you claim you care about the deficit, do you know what Donald Trump did to our deficit in 4 years when he was president? Do you know?
He's back. He's better and better
sir,
than ever.
Okay, sir, if we're going to have a conversation, you can't speak in general terms, okay? Let's try to be specific. So Donald Trump got us $8.2 trillion in the hole when he was president. So for somebody like you who claims you care about the deficit, does that bother you at all, or not really? That doesn't bother you, sir?
You're not even gonna see the effects of it.
You're not even okay. So you're not even going to see the. You're not even going to see the effects of it. So a guy just said he cares about the deficit, and then Trump. I say Trump gets us $8.2 trillion in debt, and his defense of it is you're not going to see the effects of it, sir. Are you a serious person? Because that is
very little life. You're going to have fun in San Diego. You're going to hang out.
Okay, so pot him down again. Sir, this conversation has nothing to do with my vacation in San Diego. You're deflecting. Let's try to focus on what you just said, and let's see if you can focus. And listen, I understand, sir. I understand very clearly that it's very difficult for a MAGA supporter to focus. Let's try to focus. I'm not done talking yet. That means you don't. I'm not done talking yet. I'm not done talking yet. That means you stop talking. You said you care about the deficit. Donald Trump got us $8.2 trillion in debt in his first go around. Why don't you care about that? And by the way, we have seen the effects of it. A lot of people that have lost their jobs, a lot of people that have lost their livelihoods.
More money with Donald Trump in office than I did with Joe Biden.
Oh, how so, sir? What do you do for work? Let's talk about that.
I'm a contractor, sir.
Okay, so you're a contractor. So you're saying, sir, that you make more money under Donald Trump than Joe Biden. How much money do you make per year, sir? Because I want to know what tax bracket.
$150,000.
Got you. So you make $150,000 a year. Have your taxes lowered under Donald Trump? I'd like you to be honest, sir. I want you to think about this for a minute. Have your taxes lowered? Not yet. Okay, so you claim like you're making more money under Trump. You're doing better, but yet your taxes haven't lowered under Donald Trump. So explain to me how you're doing better again.
Dummy, you're a Las Vegas.
We're not going to go to the ad hominem insults. You just said you're doing better under Donald Trump, and you just openly admitted. By the way, I don't believe you make $150,000 a year. I think you make $150 a week if you're lucky, but that's okay. I'll entertain it. You just said that you're doing better under Trump. You just said that you're doing, pot him down all the way. You just said you are doing better under Donald Trump. You just admitted your taxes haven't gone down yet. So explain to me how you're doing better under Donald Trump. I'm open ears. All right. Thank you very much for the phone call. The ad hominem attacks. Have a nice day, sir. You're obviously a complete idiot, and you have nothing to add to this conversation other than ad hominem attacks, insults, and you claim you cared about the deficit. I give you facts on Donald Trump, how he got us $8.2 trillion into the hole in his first 4 years. You don't seem to care about that. You claim that you're doing better under Trump. You talked about taxes, yet you claim that your taxes haven't gone down. I actually believe you. They haven't gone down under Donald Trump. Not yet. You haven't said one logical thing in this entire conversation. And then when I pin you in a corner and prove how stupid you are, you want to go to the ad hominem attacks and you had fun in San Diego, blah, blah, which has nothing to do with this conversation. You haven't named one thing that Donald Trump has done in the first 7 months in office that has helped you. You haven't named one thing. I'll give you one more opportunity. Name one thing. Oh, he hung up the phone. What a shocker. Have a nice day, MAGA. Have a nice day, sweetie. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Frank. Frank is next on PTL. Hi, Frank.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Good.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call, as always. And you do inspire my life every day. I talk to you or listen to you.
Well, thank you, Frank.
And I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Did you hear that Mr. Giuliani is going to get a medal from Donald Trump?
Yeah, Mr. Giuliani also got into a car accident. It's funny how we don't know all the facts on that, do we? Yeah. Giuliani doesn't deserve a medal. I think he needs to go into an old person's home and stay there. He's not well. He needs help.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Did you hear that Mr. Johnson, our speaker, takes money out of his account for his political stuff and pays his bills with it?
Yeah, I saw that. These
guys are so.
I know.
Oh my God! I can't even fathom what money that they've taken. That is well. I heard DOH is missing like $46 billion.
Yeah.
So I don't know how these guys are they going to be responsible once they're out of office, prosecuted and all that?
Well, it's certainly possible, my friend Frank, and I hear your concern, and I'm with you 150%. By the way, for anybody on social media that says I have TDS, you have TFS, but call into the show. Tell me why you think I have Trump derangement syndrome. I will give you the platform. Tell me why you think I'm deranged. Not the adjudicated abuser and 34-count felon. Why am I deranged? And then I'll prove why you're deranged. Let's go to Will. Will is next up on PTL. What's up, Will?
Hey, Brian. I got to give you a lot of credit, man. When you listen to people that are clearly ignorant, it truly, I don't know how you do it. I really don't. I'm going to try to make my point as fast as possible so you can elaborate on it. I just came from a doctor appointment. I've known a doctor for over 25 years. And basically, he was very frank with me. He talks to me like a friend. And what's going on that people really don't know about in terms of how money has gotten to the point that it's affecting our healthcare system. And it has in the past, but now it's like in hyperdrive. And people like MAGA that don't have or have very little health care, they're going to either be manipulated based on their health care or not have any care at all. And they might say it now because they're young. They're not, they don't have any health issues. But, people react when, the fire is right at their door and they don't think about it, long term. But basically, he told me in a nutshell, if he could stand on the news and really tell how the ins and outs go with insurance companies, how they've taken over, how corporations have taken over the practitioner. It truly blew me away. I've known him for over 25 years. Never seen him this upset to the point that he says that he's going to leave a practice altogether because what he got into is to help people, and now it's being manipulated by money.
Of course it is. It's all being manipulated by money. You're 150
facet of this country.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I completely agree with you, sir. Think about this for a moment. Everything that Donald Trump does is usually motivated by money for himself, his friends, his family. The most vulnerable people in our society, people that are living paycheck to paycheck, people that are struggling, homeless, those that are unemployed, they're the ones that are suffering the most under Donald Trump's policies. The richest people in this country are the ones that are benefiting. As we go to the YouTube super chat, El Garcia says Trump health issues is part of his evilness and nastiness eating him alive. No one believes this without paying their dues. Well, I certainly hope so, Mr. Garcia, and I appreciate your statement, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, obviously 150% on that. I don't know, because I am not a doctor, and I'm not going to put fake information up there, but I understand, a lot of people think that his health is deteriorating. Shelley in the YouTube super chat says, I don't have a problem with troops at schools either, but Biff wants to send them to blue states to start riots, and he tried to deport children. Judge had to stop. He cares so much for the children. Yeah, listen, this isn't about the children. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about owning the libs. It's not about safety. All right. If you're MAGA, you're welcome to call in. 702-221-SAVE. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. We have 2 phone lines open. Let's go to Andrew. Andrew is next up on PTL. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Good. What's
Long time no talk. So you told me to give you an update when I got a new job, and I have.
Oh, good. Congratulations.
Starting next week, I'll be working for the military. I know, right?
Congratulations on
crazy.
that. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for your service. That's awesome.
It's crazy. I can't believe that. Yeah. Anyway, going forward, so there's 2 things I want to address. So while I was, in the background, I heard the MAGA supporter go off in his tangent that I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And dealing with the Chicago situation with National Guard.
Right.
I had one of my friends, because I she comes to me and goes, well, why isn't that a good thing? They're coming in. I'm like, first off, Trump has no authority to put National Guard into states other than Washington, D.C., because it's a federal district. He's able to do it because it's a federal district.
Correct.
And so I'm like, going, I was like, please, before you open your mouth and make a comment like that, please understand your state government rules and your federal government rules before you make a comment like this, please, because it's embarrassing. He's just seeing what he can get away with. Okay. On top of his health scare, right? I hate to say that I'm not trying to put a conspiracy theory out in here. I'm really not. But The Simpsons predicted this a long time ago. That he was going to be president and then he was going to have a health scare. And it looks like it's come true. And it's like, and then you got JD Vance being ready in the wings. Like they're already prepping him. You know what I mean? So all I can see is the stars are lining up. And from what I can tell from his health, I don't see him lasting too much longer. And then
okay, but I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah,
but
you know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily completely disagree with you, but here's the problem with that way of thinking is that people won't vote in the midterms. They'll take it for granted. We have to assume that Donald Trump is going to be president for the next 3.5 years, because if we don't, then the work is not going to be done. I understand what you're saying. Obviously, Donald Trump's health is not, listen, he's an obese man. He's overweight. He's a large man. He's entering his 80s. I get all that, but you can't rely on that. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I get that point of view too. But at the same time, it's like people are looking at the Trump administration and JD Vance as part of it. So they're like, we don't want him in because he's part of the whole thing. So
I despise JD Vance. I think he's an awful human being, but I will say this, as much as it pains me to say it, I would still rather have JD Vance than Donald Trump. Now, I know it's a very low bar, but as much as I think JD Vance is an atrocious human being, atrocious, I do not believe JD Vance would even stoop to the levels that Donald Trump is stooping to. I don't believe JD Vance would defy the Supreme Court. I don't believe JD Vance would probably be sending in the National Guard to these Democrat-run cities. I don't believe J.D. Vance would be as aggressive with these agents under Donald Trump. Now, again, I think J.D. Vance would be a terrible president, but if I had to choose between the two, I would rather have J.D. Vance if I had to over Donald Trump, if that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. But at the same time, he's tied to Trump. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
but
so
the
it's
only
like-
reason why he's tied to Trump is because he has no backbone, and he knew it would be good for him politically, and he wants to be president one day. He's not tied to Trump because he wants to be. He's tied to Trump because he has to be to further his career, which makes him a selfish SOB. But I don't think he would side with everything that Donald Trump was doing if Trump was out of the picture.
I mean, of course not. But people are looking at what Trump is doing, so they're like, well, J.D. Vance, you know what I mean? So it's like the devil you do, the devil you don't. And so it's like, to me, it's still going to help us with the midterms because people are tired of this administration.
Right.
They're tired of it.
Yeah, well, of course.
It doesn't matter if J.D. Vance takes care of it or not. They're just like,
I understand
we don't want
that.
another MAGA person in there.
I
We
agree
just
with
don't.
you. Of course I don't want that. Of course I agree with you 150%. I don't want any MAGA people in office, whether they're the president, the vice president, the speaker. I agree with you. All I'm saying is, as bad of a person as J.D. Vance is, and he is a really bad guy, I would still rather have him in there if I had to over Donald Trump. That's all I'm saying. I know it's a very low bar. J.D. Vance is a really bad, dishonest guy. I get that. Obviously, if I had it my way, they would both be out of office. 702-221-7283. If you're a MAGA supporter or not, the number to call again is 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Shirley. Shirley is next up on PTL. Hey, Shirley.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Shirley. What's on your mind today?
Well, I just wanted to tell you that I think that you and I are related. I met you when you were much, much younger.
You did.
In Colorado.
You did.
Yes, and I remember you had a broken leg at one time. Am I right?
No, I think you're thinking about somebody else. I did not. I've never had a broken leg in my life. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Oh, well, darn. I got the wrong guy. Sorry.
That's
But
okay.
anyway.
We can pretend like I had a broken leg, though. You can continue. Go ahead.
I'm a diehard Democrat, have been all my life.
Gotcha.
I'm 92 years old.
God bless you.
God bless you.
92 years old, my dear. What do you make of where this country, the state of this country, and where we're in right now?
I'm not real happy.
Yeah, neither am I. Neither am I.
And I never thought I would see in my lifetime what's going on because, I lived through bad times and good times, but the best years were in the 50s, believe me.
Well, we're going to have to get you out here to Vegas when you turn 100, and we're going to have a big party for you. That's what we got to do.
Hey, I'll let you know.
Please do. But I appreciate people like you out there, and you're one of the, the main reasons why I do this show. People out there that have paid their dues in life, and you sound like a wonderful lady, Shirley. Sorry to disappoint you, though. I don't know if we met. I have been in Colorado. I've been wanting to go to a play with Lauren Boebert for a very long time. Beetlejuice. I heard she likes the play Beetlejuice. No, I'm just kidding. But although if Lauren Boebert asked me to go to see a play with her, I probably would do it, and I would just record the whole thing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe get her a little liquored up and record the whole thing. And hopefully I would be a part of the reason why she got outed from office. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'd play along with it. I don't know. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Herb. Herb is next up on PTL. Hi, Herb. What's going on?
Hey, Brian, how was your weekend? I hope it was good.
Relaxing. Relaxing.
Okay, that's good. Listen, let me just say this. It's amazing to me how you can look at Trump and over TV and see clips of him, and you can diagnose his sickness. He's sick.
Did I diagnose him? Did I?
Well, you said he was sick. Did you not say he was sick?
Over and over again, I've said I'm not a doctor. I've also said, just like Joe Biden, he's in his early 80s. He's dragging his leg. He clearly is not have the mental acuity that maybe he had 10 or 15 years ago. I've also said repeatedly that I'm not a doctor. And that's a pretty normal thing from somebody in their early 80s. He's an old man. I haven't done what people like you do. I haven't diagnosed him with a disease. I haven't said that he has Alzheimer's. And I haven't done with what you people do on the far right. So no, I have not diagnosed him with the disease.
Well,
he's in his early 80s, and usually when people enter their 80s, their health does normally deteriorate a little bit. And you've seen
that's
Donald
true.
Trump and what
I
he
agree.
looks like, and he drags his legs. So don't put words in my mouth, and let's move on to something
Well,
else.
I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him dragging his legs. But let me just say that I remember when JD used to tell you about Biden and his sickness and his problems.
And what are his
and
problems?
You denied it
What are
all
his
the
problems?
time. And that
What are
was
his problems?
obvious.
What are his problems?
When he was falling, okay, I'll tell you what they were.
Yeah,
Just
what are they?
listen for a change.
Dr. Herb, please tell me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
He was falling down.
He was falling down.
He was wandering
He was-
off in the
He was
the
falling
forest.
down. When was
They
he
had to
falling down?
grab him, people
When,
had to
hold
grab-
on. Okay, one at a
falling
time.
down,
One at a time.
Going up the steps. No, not one at a time.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
no.
tell
We're
you
going to go
different
through this
things
one at a
were
time, and
wrong
I'm not going to let you
That's
just.
what was wrong
No,
with
we're
it.
going to do
He
one
was
at a time.
constantly-
Dr.
he
Herb.
He was falling
Dr.
down.
Herb.
He was
Dr.
stumbling.
Herb.
He was
Herb.
missing his words.
Herb.
And everything else.
Herb.
You never said
Herb.
one time.
Herb.
You
Are you
never
going to
said
stop
one
talking?
time.
Are you going to stop
No,
talking?
I'm not going to. I'm going
Okay,
to finish
Herb,
what I got to say. Like you
finish.
do.
Then finish. Because it's not your show, it's mine. Finish.
No, it doesn't make any difference. I'm gonna call and I'm gonna say what I gotta say.
Yeah, and
so he was
finish.
falling
Okay,
down,
Herb, you've
and
said
he
that
was
now
constantly
Herb,
making- he
stop
was
talking.
constantly making mistakes,
Herb,
and you never
Herb,
one time
Herb.
said,
Okay,
this
Herb.
man does not
He
need
won't stop
to
talking.
be president.
Okay,
Now
so
they
Herb,
have an investigation
has Donald
on
Trump
him,
ever fallen?
and he may not
Has
make-
Donald
he
Trump?
may not
Herb,
make a good investigation.
Herb, to have a conversation, you can't go on a filibuster. I'm going to try to address all the things you've said. First of all, has Donald Trump ever fallen down? Has he ever stumbled before?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know.
remember
Very
something.
convenient that you don't know.
I've
Has
never
Donald
seen
Trump?
him
Has
stumble.
Donald Trump? Who was the guy who said?
Not like
Who was the
Biden
guy
did.
who said?
Not like Biden did.
I want to see if you're consistent here, Herb. Who was the guy who said you needed ID to buy bread? Did Joe Biden say that?
Oh, Brian.
Please answer the question. Who was the guy who said Jeb Bush got us into the war in Iraq? Don't Brian me, Herb. Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the. No, the bottom line is you're an idiot. That's the bottom line. Pot him down because he won't answer my question. I'll keep you on the phone, Herb, but you're a coward. You'll probably hang up the phone. Donald Trump is the guy who mumbles and jumbles. Donald Trump is the guy who said you need ID to buy bread. Donald Trump is the guy who said Jeb Bush got us into the war in Iraq. Donald Trump is the guy that said he defeated Barack Obama. Guess what? I'm not the one that fixates on somebody's health. You are, and you were. And by the way, the guy that you mentioned is no longer on the radio anymore, and he has no platform. That's also something else that probably you should think about a little bit, Herb. I'm the one who has 200,000 listeners a day, and the guy who you referenced doesn't have a show. Now, I know you hung up the phone because you're a coward and you didn't want to answer the question. Okay? Joe Biden's old. So is Donald Trump. When people are in their 80s, sometimes they forget things. Sometimes they trip. Sometimes they stumble. I said I'm not a doctor because I'm not a doctor. You're an idiot who calls yourself a doctor, which you're not. Joe Biden is also no longer the president of the United States. The guy who's the president of the United States recently said that drug prices are going down 1,500%. The guy who's the president of the United States is the guy who rolled out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin. The guy who is the president of the United States is the guy who obsesses over Joe Biden, who blames everything on Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg and Barack Obama. The guy who mumbles and stumbles and talks about windmills. The guy who talks about Hannibal Lecter. The guy who can't get through a speech without lying dozens and dozens of times is the president right now. Joe Biden is no longer the president. By the way, has Donald Trump ever taken his shirt off in public? Joe Biden just did the other day. He looks pretty good for a guy in his early 80s. But you want to diagnose Joe Biden. I never said Joe Biden wasn't old. In fact, I've said on this show time and time again, I don't think you should be over the age of 70 to be the president. I think it should be between the age of 35 and 70. But the difference between me and you, Herb, besides my higher IQ, and I'm probably a lot better looking than you, is the fact that I'm on the right side of history and I'm consistent. But idiots like you still want to talk about Joe Biden, but you don't want to talk about the damage that Donald Trump is doing to this country. You don't want to talk about the fact that he's not giving people due process, or this big and beautiful bill is a disaster. You don't want to talk about all the people in this country that are suffering, how he's breaking the rule of law as we speak right now. But you want to talk about Joe Biden's health again because you're a Nimrod. And I think you're in the bunker. And I think you need to get your head examined. What do you think about that, coward? Julie's next on PTL. What's up, Julie?
Oh Lord, I was pretty upset before her came on, but her cop made me laugh a little bit because he's such an idiot.
Yeah.
First off, I missed you when you're away.
Oh, well, thank
Paul. I like him a little bit more because I found out that we have something in common, which is we both grew up with narcissistic fathers. Also, ever since the big beautiful bill, ever since everything's been going down, my anxiety has gone over the roof.
Understandable. So is mine. I agree.
Oh, Trump, this big beautiful bill, it was hitting me yesterday.
Yeah.
I was at work. I haven't slept well in weeks.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You know, we should call him the big and not so beautiful president. That's what we're going to call Donald Trump, the big and not so beautiful president. What do you think about that, my dear? Why don't we do that? Is that fair? Thank you for the call. I'm up against the clock here. Let's go to Sylvia. Sylvia's next on PTL. What's up, Sylvia?
Hi, Brian. I just wanted to say I recently found your show, and I'm enjoying it tremendously.
Thank you.
I love it when you get after these MAGA idiots.
I try my best.
And one thing you said earlier about J.D. Vance possibly, maybe, God forbid, becoming president, he's not a leader, in my opinion. I think he's more of a follower because he used to hate Trump, and then all of a sudden he's up his butthole.
Yeah, there's a lot of people up Donald Trump's butthole. There's no question about that. Just not Melania Trump. Thank you for the call, my dear. I'm up against the clock here. We only have time for one more call, and then we're at the end of the show. But please call back when we have more time. Let's go to Steve. Steve is next up on PTL. What's up, Steve?
Hey, Brian. How you doing today? I hope you're doing well.
Doing all right.
I've been following you for a while on YouTube and TikTok.
Thank you.
And I really support what you say.
Thank you.
I'm a Democrat. I don't believe in any of the policies that Donald Trump has done, especially with immigration, inflation. Everything is so sky high right now. But all these MAGAs, they deny it, and deny everything. I go on to TikTok, I get on the panels, and I dispute them, and I put them down because I know they're uneducated hillbillies.
Yeah. Well, you're right about that. I could use some other words, by the way, my friend, to describe them. Hey, I appreciate the call. I'm up against the clock here. It's towards the end of the show. I will say this. It's good to be back. I feel refreshed. I had a nice vacation. We have some special guests that are going to be joining us throughout the remainder of the week. Leonard Cardinale is going to be joining us in studio tomorrow. So that's always fun. And I recommend if you guys support what we do, and we appreciate everybody in the YouTube Super Chat, on TikTok, everywhere, check out my website. By the way, the YouTube page is at PTL Radio Show. I think if we haven't already, we're going to surpass 140,000 subscribers today. At PTL Radio Show. Give me the thumbs up. Be interactive on our YouTube page. We're going to be on some more platforms. We're on the Really American Network, but we're going to be on even some more platforms here in the next couple of weeks. I'll be giving you that information coming up here, hopefully within a week or so. But the best thing you could do is go to my website. My website is pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live. As my producer just showed me, we did just pass 140,000 subscribers on YouTube, so we appreciate that. You go to pushingthelimits.live. You can make donations on there, support an independently owned media radio show, $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you can afford. We appreciate it. And we also sell PTL merchandise on there. That's pushingthelimits.live. This will always be the most interactive show anywhere. We take like an hour and a half of phone calls every day, and I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. I always want to give you guys the platform. You guys support me. I want to give you guys the opportunity to chime in as well. So we'll be at it tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's great to be back here in Las Vegas, and of course be back here hosting the Pushing the Limits radio show. Thanks to Paul Lance and Leonard for filling in for me. Leonard's going to be co-hosting with me tomorrow. We'll have some more special guests co-hosting with me as the week progresses. Have a good day, everybody.